You think prison is the punishment? It isn't. The punishment starts the day you walk out. Picture the last normal morning you ever had. You don't know it's the last one yet. That's the thing about last times. They never announce themselves. You wake up to the same ceiling you've stared at for years. The coffee maker gurgles in the kitchen. Someone's dog barks 2 houses down. Your phone has notifications you'll get to later. The light comes through the blinds in those familiar diagonal stripes and falls across the floor exactly the way it always has. You have a name that belongs to you, a history, a drawer full of things that are yours, a way people say hello when they see you walking down the street. You have no idea what you're about to lose. It happens on a Tuesday, or a Thursday, or a Sunday afternoon when the light is still golden and the world still feels permanent. The handcuffs are colder than you imagined. That's the first sensory detail nobody prepares you for. Not the sound, not the scene, the temperature of the metal against your wrists. Cold in a way that feels final. The squad car smells like industrial cleaner and old coffee. You watch your neighborhood pass through a window you can't roll down. The family 2 doors over is washing their car. A kid rides a bicycle. The world continues, indifferent, immediate, alive. And you are already disappearing from it in real time. Congratulations. The justice system is working exactly as intended, just not for you. The first week inside, you learn a new language without a textbook. Not slang, geometry. You learn the geometry of survival, where to stand, where not to stand, which wall is safe at which hour, where your eyes are allowed to rest and for exactly how long. You learn it fast because the cost of getting it wrong is written on other people's faces. You had a job once, maybe a title, maybe a business card with your name printed in clean font. That identity, the one you built across years of small decisions, doesn't exist in here. In here, you are a number. Literally. A sequence of digits on a wristband that tells a corrections officer which cell you sleep in. Here's the dark irony nobody talks about. You don't lose your sense of self all at once. It happens gradually, politely, like a slow leak. You keep reaching for who you were and finding slightly less of it each time. Your family visits on Saturdays. At first, you sit across from them at a table bolted to the floor, under fluorescent light that makes everyone look slightly ill. Your mother holds her purse in her lap like she's in a waiting room. Your kid, if you have one, looks at the room instead of you, processing things a child's brain was never built to process. You notice the silences that didn't used to be there. The visits get shorter. Not because anyone says so. They just do. Life outside has a current, and it keeps moving whether you're in it or not. Your brother gets a promotion. Your sister moves to a different city. Your friends, the ones who called every week in month 1, start calling every other week, then monthly, then your birthday, then not at all. And the brutal thing, the thing nobody prepares you for, is that you can't be angry about it. Because you understand. You understand completely. Time doesn't stop for people on the outside just because it stopped for you. Months pass. You adapt. The human brain is extraordinary at adaptation. That's not a comfort, it's a warning. You adapt to the noise that never fully stops, to the food that arrives at hours your body didn't ask for, to sleeping in a space smaller than most people's bathroom. You adapt to the absence of privacy so completely that privacy itself starts to feel like a concept from another life, like swimming in the ocean or choosing what to wear in the morning. Here is where the real damage begins. Not in the violence, not in the humiliation, in the routine. The relentless, grinding, purposeless routine that reshapes how your brain processes time. Studies on long-term incarceration show that extended exposure to rigid institutional schedules measurably impairs a person's ability to self-regulate, plan, and make independent decisions after release. Your brain, the same brain that once navigated a job interview, a relationship, a tax return, starts rewiring itself to stop initiating. You stop being a person who decides things. You become a person who waits. You start to exist in a space between two worlds and belonging to neither one. In the yard, there are men who have been inside for 15, 20, 25 years. You watch them sometimes. There's a particular stillness to them that isn't peace. It's something else. It's the stillness of a person who has stopped expecting anything from the outside world, because the outside world, in every meaningful sense, has stopped existing for them. You are not them, not yet. But you notice yourself looking at the calendar differently. You notice yourself thinking less about what you'll do when you get out, and more about how to get through tomorrow. The future, that thing you used to plan for, save for, argue about, dream about, shrinks to a 48-hour horizon, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a door you didn't know existed quietly closes. Here is what the system doesn't put in the brochure. The United States incarcerates more people per capita than any other nation on earth. Not second, not third. First. More than Russia, more than China, more than every authoritarian regime that makes the evening news for human rights violations. As of the most recent data, roughly 2 million people are behind bars at any given moment, and another 4.5 million are on probation or parole, living under supervision that follows them into job applications, apartment leases, and first dates. You think prison is the sentence, but you don't know about the invisible sentence yet. The National Institute of Justice tracked thousands of people after release. Within 3 years, more than 2/3 had been rearrested. Not all convicted, not all guilty. Rearrested. Pulled back into contact with a system that now recognizes your face, knows your name, and keeps a file that follows you everywhere you go for the rest of your life. Sean Bushway, a criminologist at Rand Corporation, spent years studying what he called the scarlet letter effect. A felony record reduces lifetime earnings by an average of 40%. Not a rough estimate, 40%. The gap doesn't close. It follows you the way a shadow follows you. Always the same shape, always attached to your feet. And here is the number that should make you sit still for a moment. Roughly 650,000 people are released from U.S. state and federal prisons every single year. Every year. That is a city the size of Baltimore walking out of a gate with a small check, a bus ticket, and a file that will outlive them. The day you walk out, the light is different, not the light itself. The same photons, the same sun, but your relationship to it. You stand on a sidewalk you've been imagining for months and you feel something you were not expecting to feel. Not joy. Not relief. Something closer to vertigo. Everything is too fast. The cars, the people, the choices in a gas station. You stand in front of a wall of chips and drink options, and your brain, the one that learned to wait, that learned to stop deciding, short circuits in a fluorescent aisle that smells like artificial cheese and old coffee. This has a name. Researchers call it institutional dependency. The longer the sentence, the more profound the disorientation. Men released after 10 years or more consistently report that the outside world feels like a foreign country they were once told about, but never fully learned. You speak the language, but the customs changed while you were gone. Your phone is different. The apps are different. The slang your nephew uses makes no sense. The job you had doesn't exist anymore. Automated, restructured, or simply filled by someone else who didn't disappear. You have been gone. Not metaphorically. Actually gone. You find an apartment. Maybe. If the landlord doesn't run a background check, or if they do and decide you're worth the risk, you find work. Maybe. If the employer is either desperate enough or compassionate enough to look past the box you had to check on the application, the one that says, "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" The one that approximately 70 million Americans have to check. You try to rebuild. And this is where it gets philosophical, where it gets quiet in a way that's harder than any of the noise. Because you sit in your new apartment, a room that is legally yours, that no corrections officer will enter without warning, and you wait for the relief to arrive. You wait to feel like yourself again. You wait to feel like a person who belongs to this world, who has a right to take up space in it, who can be trusted with something as basic as a steak knife or a key to a door. And you wait. And the relief doesn't come. Because here's what nobody tells you about who you were before. You can't find him. You look everywhere. In old photographs, in conversations with people who knew you then, in the specific weight of objects that used to be familiar. And the person you're looking for is gone the way things go, that were never properly preserved. The shape is there. The outline. But the interior is different. Prison didn't just take years from you. It took the version of you that existed before you knew what you now know, before you learned the temperature of handcuffs, before you watched a visiting room empty over 3 years, before you stood in a gas station and couldn't choose between 2 kinds of chips. That person, the one who woke up to diagonal light and a dog barking 2 houses down, he doesn't come back. You can build something new. People do. Some people build things that are genuinely extraordinary from the rubble of what happened to them. That is real. That is true. But it is not the same as returning. You are not who you were. You are not who you became in there either. You are something that has no clean name yet. A person standing between 2 versions of a life, belonging fully to neither one, carrying a file with your name on it that other people can access before they ever meet you, that will introduce you to employers and landlords and dates before you can say a single word in your own defense. The sentence ended on paper. The sentence in your nervous system runs on a different calendar. Some mornings you wake up and your body checks the ceiling before your brain is fully conscious, a reflex trained into you by years of waking in a room where the ceiling told you everything about your situation at a glance. Some sounds still make you still. Some spaces still make you calculate the distance to the exit. You are out. You are not free. The system isn't broken, you understand that now. It was built this way, not out of malice, not necessarily, but out of the particular indifference that comes when consequences fall on people who don't make policy. Recidivism rates don't change because the pressure to change them doesn't come from the people most affected. You were processed, you were released, you were wished luck, and you are standing in a world that kept moving, holding a version of your name that now means something different. Rebuilding something with tools that were taken from you in the time it would have taken you to learn to use them. The prison gates close behind you. The invisible ones open right in front of you, and nobody tells you that those ones never fully lock back.